want to take a look at this game, huh? Back during the major successful Sonic generations, Sonic teams seemed to be very quiet about their next 3D Sonic game. I mean, we had Sonic for Episode 2 and Sonic Transform, but it wasn't until 2013 when we saw our first glimpse of the next 3D game. At first, all we saw of the game was a new planet called the Lost Hex, and these mysterious new characters. When we did see gameplay, it was nothing like the modern Sonic gameplay we saw back in Generations. It seemed to be taking heavy inspiration from a cancelled Sonic game on the Sega Saturn called Sonic Extreme, and Nintendo's Super Mario Galaxy. I'd be lying if I said I wasn't concerned about how the game would turn out. A new gameplay style is always going to be a gamble with this franchise, and this game is no different. There's a lot of differing opinions with this game, and there's a lot of ground I need to cover, so let's not waste any more time and let's go on with this review.
Now, unlike the last few games in the series, they did seem to try making a deeper storyline this time around. The story starts off with Sonic and Tails in a tornado giving chase to Dr. Eggman. Eggman drops an animal container distracting the duo and shoots their plane, sending them straight into the Lost Hex. I just want to say here that the CG animation is definitely at Pixar-esque quality. It really feels like I'm watching a movie. Well, I guess we'll have to wait for the Sonic movie for that, hoping it's actually good. Anyways, Eggman has allied with new characters called the Deadly Six. I have heard just about everyone criticizing these characters because of how one-dimensional they are. Well, that's the point. They have such blatant one-dimensional personalities that they are just hilarious. Take Saw, for example, who is always super depressed and couldn't care less about anything. And take Zaz, who I see being as Pinkie Pie's messed up evil counterpart, but I digress. As you defeat Zomom in Desert Ruins, Sonic kicks a magic conch shell out of Eggman's hands, which he had been using to control the Zeti. With the Deadly Six able to take matters into their own hands now, they mind control Eggman's robots, attacking our heroes, who are then forced to flee. So now Sonic, Tails and Eggman have to team up, which has never been done before in any game ever. The difference with this story though is that this team up happens during the third zone, all the way to Lava Mountain. Now if there's one thing Lost World absolutely shines over, it's the character interactions. I found myself really enjoying these three characters' personalities clash. There are a couple what the hell moments, like during Frozen Factory when Tails gets mad that Sonic apparently trusts Eggman more than him. I'm all for character development like this, but it comes out of absolutely nowhere with no build-up whatsoever, and it just comes off as, okay, what was that? Amy and Knuckles also play a role in the story, but to a much lesser extent. A few times throughout the game, they communicate with Sonic and Tails by using the Miles electric device, first seen in Unleashed and has been a reoccurring device since. I did enjoy the story for the most part, but I'm generally disappointed at the lack of explanations here. What is the Lost Hex and how does Tails know about it? Who are the Deadly Six and why are wisps from colours here? Things like that would have been nice to touch on, but oh well. Now let's get into the gameplay, something that a lot of Sonic fans are very divided over. Now if you go into this game thinking it will have the boost formula from Unleashed to Generations, you might be disappointed. Unless you unlock Super Sonic, you won't be seeing a boost in this game. What we have instead are 3 separate speed levels. By simply moving the control stick, Sonic does a painfully slow jog, but by pressing the right trigger you run in a figure 8 loop. Yes, you heard that right, Sonic has a run button now. From what I've been told, the reason they went with this structure was so you could balance out Sonic's speed. So people who want a more casual run can simply jog or hold the run button. And for those craving for speed, you have the returning spin dash and the parkour system. The spin dash is awesome in this game. By holding onto the left trigger, quickly tapping A, letting go of the right trigger to activate the spin dash, then quickly holding the button down again, will activate an endless spin dash. No, I'm serious. Unless you run into something like a hazard, the spin dash won't stop. Even jumping doesn't cancel it. While I think the Sonic Adventure games did an excellent job at balancing Sonic's speed, Lost World doesn't do a bad job either. I'm for the most part happy about this new playstyle, as it feels like you have to work for your speed just like the classics. Let me explain. In the classic Sonic games you had to work for your speed. If it was your first time playing and you just kept on spin dashing, you would most likely keep getting hit. However, when you have learnt the level design and several different routes, you will be able to blast through the zone no problem. Same goes with Lost World. You have the spin dash and parkour, but you have to master them and know what type of terrain you should and shouldn't use them on. People complaining about this game being slow are completely missing the point. As I said, this game tries to emulate the satisfaction of going fast in the classic games, and you have to work for your speed. Sonic is not slow in this game, you just need to have more skill than previous installments. Now, by looking at all this footage right now, you are probably thinking of another game. While there are no gravity-based gimmicks except for maybe once, the general design of Lost World looks eerily similar to that of Super Mario Galaxy. Even the worlds follow tropes from the Mario series. You start in a grass world, then a desert, a tropical setting, snow, jungle, sky, lava. This is part of Sega and Nintendo's exclusivity deal, so I generally don't have a problem with this, but it is very noticeable. What this game constantly tries to do is introduce new gameplay mechanics. These are the more annoying parts of the game for me. Look, I'm all for variety, but these stages are pretty much asking you to play an entirely different game. I understand Sonic Team wanted to try new things, but wouldn't it be better to keep the main gameplay consistent and just expand upon that? Many games do that already, and they create an enjoyable and memorable experience because of it. While I can enjoy the Deadly Six's characters, as boss fights, they really aren't anything special. Sure, some have a few interesting ideas, but more often than not, by doing 2 fully charged homing attacks, you take them down no problem. Actually, let's talk about that for a second. For whatever reason, they decided to change the homing attack in this game. You can now lock on to several targets at once, which will kill multiple robots in a couple of seconds. You can also kick certain robots who can resist the homing attack. However, since you have the charged homing attack, you generally don't have to bother, with the exception of a couple of robots. I still don't understand what activates the thing, and from what I can tell, the game doesn't tell you either. For some reason they decided to change the hint system in this game. Instead of simply running into a hint ring, you occasionally have a prompt that comes on the screen to tell you to stop what you're doing and go look at the gamepad. Guys, what was wrong with the hint rings? This completely kills the sense of flow and immersion, and it isn't intuitive at all. There was no need for this to be changed. Wisps make a comeback in this game. For what reason? Again, the game never explains it. They are just sort of there. Didn't the Wisps go home at the end of Colors? Is the Lost Hex one of their homes we never saw? This would be nice to know. They are completely absent from cutscenes too, which just makes things even more confusing. At this point there is a patch for Lost World that allows you to control colour powers with the analog stick. Let me tell you, they are miles better to control because of this patch. Before, you had to utilise the gamepad's gyro controls, which for this game only really works when it feels like it. Another thing the patch did was give you an extra life for every 100 rings you collected. I have no idea why the game didn't have this to begin with though. The patch does make Lost World a much more enjoyable experience, so kudos to Sonic Team for trying to make their game better. The red rings are back in this game, and a lot of them are no walk in the park. A handful of them appear right in front of you, but most others you have to go out of your way to collect. I'm fine with this, but it's when you have a one-shot at getting a red ring when it starts becoming tedious. Frozen Factory Act 2 is the biggest offender of this. In a couple of sections you have to hit these balls in order to get a red ring, and it doesn't help that the snowball you're in is incredibly stiff. And you need to hit every ball, and what's worse is that there's a checkpoint right after these sections, and they are over midway through the stage. So if you fail to kill yourself before you hit the checkpoint, you have to start all over again. This is just bad design to me. What do the red rings do? By collecting all of them in a zone, you get a Chaos Emerald, and by collecting a set amount, you unlock circus tents. The reason you have an animal count in the first place is because in order to access the 4th act in the zone, you need to have a specific amount of animals. You can find them in capsules like the classic series, or as I stated earlier, in circus tents. It's really easy to get tons in the circus minigames, so you should never have an issue where you don't have enough. Now, since this is a Sega and Nintendo partnership, there's some DLC to be found in this game. If you pre-ordered the game, you would have received a Deadly Six edition. Don't worry though, I've seen these copies all over game stores. I'm pretty sure you'll be able to find one no problem. The DLC stage found in the Deadly Six edition is a massive homage to Knights, which is appropriate considering Knight's creation was to be a flying Sonic. You also fight each of the Deadly Six here, but like the main game they are complete jokes. However, there are 2 other DLC stages, and because this is a partnership, these stages are based off of Yoshi's Island and the Legend of Zelda series. The Yoshi's Island stage is a great way to gain extra lives. By hitting Yoshi Block, you can pick up 3 Yoshi eggs, and if you manage to reach the end of the stage without taking damage, all of the eggs will hatch and you receive 1-ups galore. And since you now have the patch, 1-ups in the Knights level is also incredibly easy, as you are constantly getting rings. The Legend of Zelda stage is another beast entirely. At the start of the stage, you are able to explore a vast open field, and in some sections you find Link riding on his Loft Wing from Skyward Sword. You can even find treasure chests that gives you a heart container. Yes, in this stage your health is now the equivalent to a Zelda game. To get hearts, you have to spin dash through a bush or jump on an enemy. There's even a massive homage to Ocarina of Time and Majora's Mask. Remember the stone statues in those games? And now if you put a bomb near it, it would rocket up to the sky? Where if you use a bomb wisp, you can do the exact same thing here. You can also find rubies in this stage, and they translate into animals. The music in this game is also pretty well done. From what I know, composers from both Unleashed and Colors went to perform tracks for this game. And this isn't necessarily my favourite track in the Sonic series, but it's definitely up there with tracks like Sea Bottom Segue and others like Frozen Factory Act 1 and Sky Road Act 2. Overall, Lost World is definitely a much different Sonic game than what we are really used to, and because of that, the gameplay mechanics may take a little bit to get used to. However, once you get everything down fine and thanks to the patch, I find Lost World to be a rather enjoyable experience. Just be cautious if you plan to get the red rings in this game.
At this point we know nothing about Sonic Team's next 3D game. We have Sonic Boom coming up, but that's an entirely different continuity altogether. The next 3D game is said to be in development by Sonic Team, but as for what it is, well, only time will tell, but here's hoping it's a good one. As for the next review though, I need to think about that for a bit, because there's a lot of things going on right now, and I'm honestly not too sure about what game I should do next. I just need to take a look at the games I have, and if one of the games in particular catches my eye, then I guess I'll do a review on it. But until then, hope you guys enjoyed this review. I have been Super Mario Sonic Lover, and I'll see you guys next time. So take care and have a nice day.